Many of you that are looking at this presentation or viewing this recording might have already seen me speak before at either a home show exhibitor seminar or at a Dwyer event in the past. Obviously, your business has grown immensely since we last chatted, and I think the best way to go through today is just to walk you through exactly kind of what we do, how we can help you, and walk you right into some of the Mr. Rooter and other customers that are currently our customers, how they're leveraging the system, and how it can benefit you guys as well. So I always start with my favorite stat, which is social media is basically overtaken porn as the #1 thing on the internet. And I think everybody that's on the call would probably agree that if you're not on social media, you're definitely missing the boat on a number of aspects of growing your business. In terms of data around reviews and listening to what other people say, the favorite stat I have is the one that says 90% of consumers trust others, while only 10% trust advertising. And that's a huge piece considering what we do and what we advocate for our customers, which is essentially, you know what, no matter what you spend on advertising, and Dwyer and all the brands within Dwyer spend a ton on advertising, it's really important that you understand that's only impacting 10% of the decision making around your business. So that being said, let's hop into what the goal of advertising is. Ultimately, we've got advertising experts on the call and marketers that help Dwyer every day, and they are the ones that really drive the bus on that. For the local people, it's really pretty simple. You want to make sure you get chosen. And ultimately, unfortunately, these days, before you're chosen, anyone on the call know what happens? Anyone?
Google.
Ah, look at that. It's almost like I planted it. Absolutely. Before people choose, they Google. And one of the biggest things I tell every business that we talk to is you need to frequently Google yourself. It's crazy how a website has basically been created into an adjective, but if you haven't Googled yourself lately, you need to. Because ultimately, when you Google yourself, that's when you find out what other people are seeing. We have this tendency as business owners to go to different sites, HomeStars included, and focus on where you sit in the search order. But ultimately, most people don't search that way. In particular for HomeStars, 90% of the traffic that HomeStars gets is directly to the profile of a business from Google, which is a lot different than people's perception. So that for me is a very big aha moment, that people don't Google themselves enough. But of course, you know, when you Google yourself, it literally is the eighth wonder of the world, because God only knows, and the folks in the Silicon Valley, what exactly Google algorithm is and how you can end up showing up at the highest point possible, because that's everybody's goal. It's no longer, I want to grow my business, I want to be profitable, it's I want to get to the top of Google. So that's kind of where we live today. And it is crazy that we base our businesses on that. But there's a simple way to do it. And I'm going to give you guys the $1 million secret, and that is all you need to do is find out what and more of it. But rather than call and try to do investigation, I'm going to tell you, they love and a big bucket of online marketing tools, which Google is the primary one. They love user-generated content. Now, what is that? That is content that was driven by users. And social media is the #1 user-driven content source for all search engines. So if someone's talking about you on social media, Google picks that up. Interesting story, and feel free to jump in, whoever's on the call, if there's any questions or comments as we go. But, you know, I've got young kids, and they always ask me, you know, how does Google work? And I said, Google's like the Wizard of Oz. And essentially what that means for them is you ask Google anything, it will give you the answer. And they'll give you the answer based on what they think is the most relevant. And more than ever before, what they think is relevant are what people are saying about you. Because they know, as well as I do, if you were to ask me how great I am, I'll tell you, I'm #1. Go read my LinkedIn profile. You'll see how great it is. Guess who the author of that is? Me. All your websites, they say how great you guys are. And the authors of those websites, no drum roll required. Google knows that. You're going to talk in a way about yourself that's not extremely positive. So they put a high value on what other people say. So let's just go through those favorite stats again. 90% of consumers trust what other people say, only 10% trust advertising. So essentially, people are 9 times more likely to believe what others say about you than what you say about yourself. So let's test that theory. And again, feel free to jump in. I feel bad that it's totally one way, but I'm assuming there's some engagement on the other end of the line. So let's test the theory. There's a company in Phoenix that basically said they have the best sandwich in Phoenix. But when you do some research, TripAdvisor, which is the #1 source for this type of thing, basically says they have the 1,272nd ranked restaurant in Phoenix. So who do people believe? If I'm in Phoenix, I'm believing TripAdvisor. Same with, hey, Doug might know this in Calgary, Sammy's Pizza. I've been there myself. Not only do they say they're the #1 pizza in Calgary, they say they have the world's greatest pizza. But you know what? TripAdvisor says they only have the 157th best in Calgary. Which one do you believe? More close to home, Trek Electric, again in Calgary. Great company. Go to their website. Even if you talk to some of their customers, they've got a very good track record. But when you Google them, what you find is some reviews that say different. So how do we avoid this? Well, even closer to home, Mr. Handyman. In Toronto, I did a Google search today, and the very first organic listing that showed up was a Mr. Handyman of Toronto HomeStars listing that shows them at a 5.7 out of 10 on 16 reviews. Is that a true picture of the business? I don't think so, because Mr. Handyman's a much better brand than that and does much better work. But it doesn't matter what the reality is. All that matters is what people can find when they search you. So what do you do? How can we deal with it? What do we do about it? That's the big challenge. So ultimately, this is how it works. The folks at head office, they do a bunch of media, and they spend tons of money on building brand and helping all the local franchisees drive volume of leads to their business. They do it through various means. And all that's doing is driving people to Google you. I'm sure the folks at head office have this data, and Kai, I think we've had this conversation before, but if you look at your webstat data by brand, you will see the majority of web searches that end up on your website are name-based searches. Why? Because you spend a lot of money on branding, which is exactly what you should do. So, head office, local advertising, all it's doing is driving more brand-based searches through search engines. And your web data will tell you what those figures are like. My guess is it's upwards of 70% of your searches are brand-based searches. So what that means is what those search results produce become even more critical than ever. So beyond the paid advertising, beyond your own website, what are the first set of results that show up when your business is Googled? Not including paid, not including stuff authored by you. Because as we said, 90% of people trust what other people say about you versus what you say about yourself. Depending on what shows up, in most cases where there's a HomeStars profile with reviews, that's what will show up first. And the more review content you have, the more is driven to that profile. Now, how do we manage those profiles? And why bother managing them? Very, very simple. Upgraded members on HomeStars connect with 5 times the rate of unpaid members. So if an unpaid member gets 2% conversion, a paid member would get 10. That's the average. In some cases, it's much, much greater, but that is the average. And at the end of the day, more connections equals more jobs, because more quote requests that you get through your paid profile will drive more jobs. And it's pretty simple. I mean, the formula for success, we used to be very, very secretive about how to be successful on HomeStars. And we realize all that's doing is creating challenges for businesses. So we give you a very successful formula. And it's right on our website. You go to our website, you can watch the video, and I encourage you to do that. If you go to homestars.com, at the bottom of the page, there's a building trust link. If you click on it, this is where you'll end up. And it will tell you the formula for success. Regular reviews. Obviously, you don't want fake reviews. Don't freak out over negative reviews. Review responses are critical. Investigate the reviews that are not for you. Asking homeowners to take away negative reviews is worse for you than leaving a negative review on your profile. Responding to messages and quotes is hugely impactful. That is the number one thing you should be doing. And making sure your business is up to date. So all those things really, really are the simplest formula for success. And to take it even at a simpler level, all any company has to do on HomeStars to be successful is two things: respond to messages and quote requests and request reviews. Those two things will ultimately drive your success on HomeStars. And that success, whether you're at your desk or on your phone, you can see that, you can see the success and measure it every day. So before we jump into questions, I'd like to walk you into what a dashboard looks like. So this dashboard is a Mr. Rooter dashboard. And when you go into your desktop, you can see the activity. I'm going to refresh the screen to see if there's any new activity today. So the most recent activity is from a couple of days ago. And you can see the activity. You can go into reviews. And this activity would be, I'm pretty sure it would be job requests. This is a live version, so I'm not going to go in and do anything. But you can go into reviews. You can go into reviews and you can see the reviews right here. So Linda gave them a 10. The ability to respond is right there. If this wasn't my customer, I click a simple investigate button and that review goes to investigation. If I go into my message icon where I see there's 4 unread messages, those are actually job requests. So as you can see, I click on that and there's 4 job requests that are there for my attention, and I can click on it and I'm not going to do it because it will actually, it's a live registered company that I'm logged in. So it will actually show me the job requests that I've got. So back to my dashboard, if I want to see how I'm doing, I just simply click on my success tracker and it gives me the data. So far this month, what percentage of my profile visitors I'm actually connecting with, and year to date, what that number is. So I know we've got marketing people on the call right now. Looking at these numbers, you can absolutely see it's pretty phenomenal. The average connection rate for a campaign online or an AdWord campaign is less than 2%. These connection rates are amazing. And it tells you exactly how they're connecting with you. It also gives you the ability to download those stats so that you can have them and analyze them if you're head office. So that being said, I will flip it over to questions.
So Ryan, I had a couple of questions via email from some owners that couldn't make it on the call.
Absolutely.
One was asking, how do you request reviews from past customers?
Great question. So there's 2 ways to do it. One is by going into the dashboard and going to your reviews tab. And from that reviews tab, there's a simple button right here. It says request a review. By clicking on this button, all you have to do is put in a description of the job you did, put the email in and the phone number of the customer, and click request. That customer actually gets a text message on their phone that they click on the link, and they're able to post a review right away. And the review status is right here. So you can see this company requested a review today, 2 hours ago. So this is Mr. Rooter in Toronto, in North York. This is one of your largest franchises, and they use this tool. As you can see, they've used it a bunch of times today. So one time today, once yesterday, once the day before, And then as they get approved by the customer, you can see it right here. So these are approved reviews on the front end of the site. It's as simple as a 2-second exercise. That's one way. The other way to do it is through the mobile app. So within the mobile app, when you go into your mobile app dashboard, if you click on reviews, you have the same option. There's a request a review button. You click it. It's the exact same interface. You put in email address, phone number, job description, boom, fire a text to a customer. It literally takes less than 1 minute.
Okay, great. And then I think you already talked about this, but the responding to leads. So that's just that page that you showed.
So yeah, so that request a review, I'm actually I can't really go in and do it, but let me show you what it looks like. So if I go in, I see here I have some leads. I click on it. If I click on this lead, it gives me the ability to request. So I can just go in here and I can type up exactly what I want to do. So I can say,
is there an email or text notification when you get new leads?
There absolutely is. So let me show you what that looks like as well. Let me get out of here before Derek gets mad that I did something to his job request. Okay, 1 second. Let me just log out. Yes, so I'm going to open up my email browser for a second and just search for an email that I was able to send today to somebody that showed them exactly what you guys are looking for. So this is what you see. Sorry, I don't know if you guys are looking at it, are able to see it.
Yeah.
This is what you get via email. Obviously, this is a template, but it would say, "Hi, Mr. Reuter," or it would say, "Hi, Holly. A homeowner has asked us to send you their job request." So there's two types of job requests you get. One's where a homeowner clicks directly on your quote request button, and those go directly to you. The other type of quote request you'll receive is one where we would basically send you guys that request because a homeowner has asked us to send it to multiple companies. And that still comes in the same way. Oh, sorry, the one I showed you was the multiple one. So if you read this one, it basically says, a homeowner has asked us to send their job request to multiple professionals. Based on your recommendation meter, you're receiving this message. So if you were in the green on your recommendation meter, you get these messages as well. They come to your email and it's a 2-click process. One, you click this button to view the request, and this takes you right to where I showed you that request can be responded to in your dashboard.
Okay. And just as a follow-up to that, how can you tell what leads have been addressed and responded to?
Because you look in there and it'll show you you've responded to them.
Okay. So if multiple people were getting the emails.
Yeah, I'll show you. So, oh, sorry, responded to by the homeowner?
No, the business.
So yeah, I'll show you 1 second. Sorry, you guys are seeing our total internal system here, but that's okay. Been a good month so far, as you can see from our results. Okay, so I'm going to go in and log in as Derek again, and I'll show you where you can see that. So at the very bottom, you can see view my archived messages.
Okay.
They're all here. They're all here. There's multiple things here because Mr. Reuter, this particular franchise has multiple locations.
Right, which leads me to my next question about, we obviously have a number of owners that do have multiple locations, especially with Mr. Reuter.
Yep.
What's the best way if you do have multiple locations in terms of setting up a profile?
So it's a business question. So the best way is, okay, let me take a step back. It really depends on the brand objectives. If you want consistent brand messaging and online profile strength, a single profile that contains multiple review locations is better. So I'm Mr. Reuter. So the ideal is Mr. Reuter Canada has one profile that has thousands and thousands and thousands of reviews. That's the ideal location. The second version of that would be regional. The very smallest version of that would be single location. So the more reviews you have, and the more frequently you get reviews, the more strength your profile has and the better it is for your business.
Okay. Are there any other questions from anyone else? I know we had a couple people join late. Is there any other questions from any of the owners on the call for Ryan?
Yes, I have a question. This is Michael Zalemski from Vancouver. Sorry, I was a little late.
That's
No
okay.
problem, sir. No problem at all.
I sent yesterday an email. I don't know if they're to Holly. It's about my case. I'm in Vancouver.
I did. Yeah, I did see that. Absolutely.